Hi, this is Andrew here from Scorchsoft. Just a quick video showing you how to update and edit the Happy Paws website using the Wordpress content management system. So firstly, let's get the website up. So this is the Happy Paws site. Notable areas of the site are you've got the header bar, you've got a rotator, you've got pets of the month, you've got this little pop-out contact form on the right-hand side, you've got our newest friends, and you've got latest posts, which are kind of your blog news. If you have a look at the top, you can see you've got various pages. So you've got a navigation structure to the site, you've got testimonials and a gallery and a contact page. So what the purpose of this tutorial is to show you how to edit the key features yourself using the content management system, so it's nice and easy and administratable. So if you take the website address, happylittlepaws.ddc.co.uk, and you go /wp-admin. That's /wp-admin, and visit that location. You'll get a WordPress login screen where you can log in with your username and password that you have been provided. So I'll just enter in my username and password. Let's hope I've not made a typo. Okay, excellent. So this is the dashboard of the back-end content management system. Now what you'll notice is you've got basically a navigation menu down the left hand here. So this is kind of where you find functions and features within the site. What's also worth noting, now that I'm logged in, if I refresh the website, so sometimes it can take a little while, so yeah, okay. So if I refresh the website, you've now got this admin bar at the top. Now what this lets you do is enter into the content management system easily. So one of the easiest ways of sort of finding your way around is, let's say you navigate to About Us and you go, right, I want to edit this page. You can just click on Edit Page in order to get to it. So that's one way of finding your way around the system. But let's ignore that for a moment, because I want to show you how to navigate through the site with literally just using the dashboard. So if we go to the dashboard here, I want to start by showing you how to administer pages on the site and how to administer posts. So if we click on the Pages tab on the left, you can see here are the pages of your website. So before we went to the About Us page and we were looking at this to wonder how to edit it, well, in the same way you've got the About Us page. So if you hover over it and click Edit, you get the editing functions for the page. Now in here a lot of it should be pretty self-explanatory. So if you hover over items, you can do things like make them bold, you can center text, if you want to center something. You can add media if you want to insert images. So let's say I wanted to insert an image below How Are We, just click Add Media. I've uploaded a nice little picture of myself which you can insert into the page. Once you're ready and once you've made all the changes, all you do is click Update and the page updates there and then. So once this page is loaded, we'll be able to go to the About Us page on the website and you'll see that the changes I've made are now in effect. So I'm now going to get rid of that and update again. So one thing to say is there's always a lot of options on the screen. I'll talk you through the ones that are relevant to you, and let's just assume for the moment you can ignore the other ones. We're always on the end of the phone if you do need any support or help. Now what is interesting is this feature's like it tracks the revisions you've changed and remembers the changes you've made, which is always handy should you want to revert, but that's unlikely that you'll want to do that. You can do things like unpublish a page. Let's say you're editing it and you want to save it and publish it later, you can do that. Yeah, so that's editing a page anyway. One thing you'll notice as well is there's a permalink here. Now what you notice is you can edit this. So if we wanted the address to appear differently, we could edit it here. What you want to be thinking about is using, so let's say you're creating a page about daycare and you want to come up for the search words daycare. You'd want to use daycare in this area of the page, and you'd also want to use daycare as a word a few times in this text. So if you want to come up for a search term for a word, you want to use it a lot. It's not guaranteed that this will get you to the top, but it's one of the contributing factors. So that's how to edit a page, but you can also, on the left hand, if you click Add New, this is how to add a new page. So let me just add a load of jargon. You can see the options on the left are a little bit different. So you've got a Save as Draft button if you wanted to save it for later. and if you navigate away, you can see we've got my gobbledygook page there that's marked as draft that you can't actually see on the website. And then when we're ready to publish, we can click that publish button. Let's say you did this and you weren't happy. Deleting's pretty easy too. You just click on all pages on the left here to get to this page. You tick the page that you want to delete and go down to move to trash, or you can just literally hover over, and on this quick menu you can see there's trash there, so you could add that into the trash, and that deletes the page essentially from the site. So you might be thinking, okay, great, I can add pages, but how do I find them? It seems logical that you want to be able to edit where things are in this navigation. Well, in order to edit the navigation, all you need to do is hover over the appearance, and then you'll notice under appearance you've got menus. So if you just give this page a few seconds to load. So what you can see here when you come to this page right away is here is the navigation structure, and this navigation structure matches this. So firstly you can drag and drop things around. So if I want a gallery, so at the moment gallery's at the end, let's say I want it after the About Us page, I literally drag it and then save the menu, and what you will notice if we refresh the page, the menu order is now changed. So let me just drag that back. Now what you can also do is you can have pages that belong to pages. So if you drag it along so it indents a little bit and then I save, you will notice that that item's now gone, but if I hover over testimonials I see gallery. So it's quite an easy way of dragging, dropping, controlling your menu. So let me save that. So that's easy enough. Your most common thing you're going to want to do is maybe add a new page. So let's say, what page have we got here on here at the moment? This sample page. Let's say we wanted to add this sample page to navigation. All you do is click on pages, tick the page you want to add, and click add to menu. That then adds it to the menu. You've got sample page down the bottom. Let's say you didn't want to call it sample page. Let's say we call it test. Could be anything. You just save it. So now, when we visit the website, this test page should appear in the navigation, correct? And if we click on it, it'll take us through to the sample page, which is what we wanted. You can also use this. So let's say we want to delete this, we can just expand it and click remove. That removes it from the navigation as soon as we save. There you go. So some of these buttons are fairly self-explanatory, but I just wanted to show you where they are, just so that you know instinctively where to go to. You can also directly link to things. So let's say you wanted to put a link to Google in there. You could just put google.com and add it as Google, and add that to the menu. There we go. But I don't want to do that. Also, you can do things like link to categories. But we don't need to go into that now. That's something you're unlikely to want to do at this stage. Yeah, so that's pretty much all you need to know about posting pages. What are very similar is, so pages are pages, but then you've got posts, which are kind of what appear in the blog. So posts are your updates, your news, things that are happening, things that aren't happening. You want to be putting an update on the site once every 2 weeks, ideally. The more frequently you do it, the better. And if you can use keyword-rich text, so try and write about things that you want to appear on search engines for, that's going to help your search engine presence. Good to use images. People relate to images. I really like the idea of kind of linking to new dogs, like you do, like's been done at the moment. I think it really makes the whole service personal, and something I'd recommend doing. But editing posts is really similar to editing pages. So instead of clicking on pages, you click on posts. Yeah, I want to leave that page. Let me just make sure. Yeah. So you click on posts, you get a page that looks like this. It looks the same as when you're editing a page, to be honest. And you can see that these posts here match the posts that are on your site. And these all just automatically order by date. So, same way you can click to edit a post. It looks identical to a page. All the same way of doing things is all there. One thing I didn't mention to you actually is featured images. So where you've got an image at the top that's automatically cropped, and that's managed via this featured image function. So let's add a new post and I'll show you how this works. So I'm going to just add a test post. It's exactly the same process as adding a page that we showed earlier. So now that that's published, I can refresh the site and you will see that my test post is live, but you'll notice that there's no image at the top. Now we've got a choice here, so we can scroll down to the on the editing pane, click set featured image. Now what we can do here is upload files, or we can pick images from the media library, which are files that have already been uploaded. So let's say there was me, let's set this featured image and save it. You're going to notice that I will appear once it's loaded. So I will appear at the top of this page once I refresh it. There you go. Cheeky grin there. So what you'll notice, it automatically crops the image, so you can't really control that. So make sure that if you had a head at the top of a square image that you don't want to crop out, that it's going to cut it down. Same way you might want to upload an image. So let's remove that featured image a second. If I upload an image, all you do is you can drag and drop actually. So let me find an image on my computer. So all you do is get this up. I'm going to just grab any old photo. Let's grab another one of me from when I was a bit younger. Upload that in, and then that's it. Really, really simple. So set that as featured image and update, and refresh, and there it is. So you'll notice that this image doesn't span the width of the screen. That's because it was a very small image. We'd recommend that if you're uploading images that you want to go in the header, that they're sort of wider than the area they're going to go into, so that the cropping functions work nicely. Yeah, just a little bit of advice there. So one thing you're going to want to know how to do is how to add dogs to pets of the month. So just let me under our newest friends, basically. So if we go to pets, have a look at pets, you can see we've got some pets in here. So we've got all of these dogs here. So when you add a particular, when you add a particular pet into the system, so let's click on add new. Let's give it some, same way as a page, you can set a featured image like this, and we can publish it. Once published, if we go over to the gallery, you see we appear in the gallery. What you can also see is we don't appear on the home page. Now the reason we don't appear on the home page is that we're not currently set to be a featured pet. So if we tick featured pet and click update, then when we refresh this page, we should now appear on the home page. There we go. So I'm now a featured pet. I should appear as well. What will happen when soon is once I'm sort of added into this section, I should also appear in newest friends. We're having a problem with this at the moment, which we're just in the process of fixing, but you will also appear in there. So that's how to add them in there. So once I'm a pet in the system, I will appear in the gallery, and I will appear in pets of the month, and I will appear in latest friends. What you can also do, so let's click on Alfie, for example. When you click on Alfie, you'll see there's some filter options based upon dog breed, like Dalmatian. So these are kind of built into WordPress. If you're wanting to use this, what you can do is at the bottom, when you add a pet, you've got these functions. So basically, when you add something for the first time, you can set what sort of breed and thing it is. So I did this wrong the first time and set myself as a barnyard, which is obviously incorrect. So if I delete this, if I delete myself there and go through the process again, you notice if I set add a featured image, yeah, scroll to the bottom, I'm able to select animal type. I'm going to select dog, I'm going to publish, And when I scroll down again, it lets me select the breed. I'm going to tell them I'm a golden retriever. Going to update. Oh, I'm going to set myself featured as well, actually. So then if I go to the home page, you will see me here. So if I learn more about the pet, you'll see it says I'm a golden retriever, and if I click on golden retrievers, there's the golden retriever. Now you might say, well, I want more than this. I want more types of breed that I can tick. It's easy enough to add. If you click on pets, and then you've got dog breeds on the left. Here are the breeds. So if you want to add a different breed, you can go test breed. Test. Slug is the way the URL looks at the top. So that's the slug. So that one's golden. I'm just going to set that to test. And you add new tag. So you can now basically tag dogs as this type. So I can now, if I go back to pets and I click on the one I've just added, I can see that in this list we've now got the test one I've added. This is kind of an academic point really of categorization. You might decide that you don't want to do it that way, it's up to you, but that's basically how to administer the dogs on the system. I'd recommend doing this. I think it's quite a nice little feature in terms of being able to show your customers what's going on with the dogs there. I think it makes it a lot more personal, so anytime you get a dog, it's kind of a win to put it on the website. Whilst we're here, might as well show you some of these things like opening times. You've got widgets and a map and stuff. If you go to appearance and then widgets, these are kind of how you configure areas of the site. So you've got these various sidebars and things that you can drag stuff to, but what you'll notice, overall sidebar, which is what's kind of this sidebar on the right here, has got it's got a social icon at the top, then it's got the newsletter, opening times, and what you see is you've got the newsletter, business hours, opening times, and if you click on these, you've basically got space to be able to edit them. So you can edit your opening times and all that sort of stuff from here. So if we scroll down, all of this is editable from there. So let's say categories. At the moment, let's say we didn't want to show that. All we'd do is open that up and delete it, and that's it. Yeah, that's all there is to it. Something else you're probably going to want to do is edit testimonials. So if you navigate to the testimonials page on the website, you see you've got testimonials. Now these just play through at the moment. So if we wait for a second, you'll see that they loop through. So if you want to add a testimonial to this looping function, all you do is on the left you've got testimonials. So if you click on testimonials, you can see them, or you can add a new testimonial. So if I add Andrew test and add some text in there, again you're going to be familiar with how these pages look. It's pretty much the same on every page. So if you publish this, that testimonial is now live. So if you refresh this page and then leave it to cycle through, you'll see that essentially the testimonial that is there is there. There you go. So that's how the testimonials work. Quite simple. In the same way as you can do with anything else, you can tick and add to trash and do all that sort of stuff. So yeah, testimonial additions is pretty straightforward and simple. Now, one point to raise is these slides at the top. These are editable in the content management system, but things like this button and the text on them are something we've added, because clearly they're positioned uniquely per each image. Clearly you need a little bit of image editing knowledge to do that, which we're happy to do for you if you sort of tell us what you want to do. But let's say that you managed to do it yourself and wanted to upload a picture. I'll show you how to do it. It's quite straightforward. All you do is go to the back end, click on slides. Here are your slides, and if you want to add another slide, all you do is add new. So you just give it a name and you upload a featured image. and then you publish. So then if you look at slides, you got it there, and if you refresh the page, you'll see if I go back, it's got that slide there that I've just added. So that's as easy as that, really. I'm going to delete that now. The only thing to consider is, and I'm going to write this on the screen so it's easy to reference, you need an image size of 19 by 552. So that means if you're creating an image for use on the slider, ideally it should be 1900 pixels in width and 552 pixels in height when you upload it. It will accept smaller images, but if they're smaller you might find that it gets cut off at the edges and doesn't look very nice. So this is our recommendation. Seeing as it's such a pivotal part of the site, I think it's important that these maybe have a little bit of a graphics touch to them. So yeah, but that's how you do that if you did want to do that, and what I'd recommend. Let me close that. If you have a look at paint.net, what paint.net is. Oops, that's wrong. If I do a Google search for paint.net. What you'll see is you've got this get paint.net. This is essentially a free image editing program, so you could drag an image in, edit it, add your own text, all of that sort of thing. So also, whilst we're on the video, I might as well tell you this. The font that we've used on the logo and on the actual images, like here, if you go to Google.com and search for web fonts, you'll see that Google, I've got google.com/fonts. If you click on that, what you'll notice is that this is kind of a library for browsing and viewing fonts. So it's a bit of a weird name, but the font we've actually used there is Love Ya Like a Sister. So this is the font. We can give you the font file, but if you add it to collection, click use and tick this button, it lets you download the font. You can download it, you can install it, you can do what you want with it. You can give it to your business card designer or whatever. This gives you full control of it, and this is basically what your logo is made of at the moment. So what you're also going to want to know how to do is edit newsletters on the site. So if we go to newsletter, and then we have a look at, this is kind of all the functions associated with newsletters on the website. What you'll be interested initially in is subscribers. So here are people that have signed up to your mailing list. Now, just to demonstrate this, if we sort of visit a page on the site that has that's got subscribers, join our newsletter form, all we do is enter in our name and our email, and we click subscribe. So you see now we're subscribed, should be subscribed in theory to the newsletter. So let's have a look. There I am. Great. So it's not confirmed because there's no email has been sent to it yet, so we don't know that this email address is valid because we've not had any bounce backs or anything, but that's fine. I've added that will send me emails now that I'm added to that list. So let's say we wanted to send out a campaign to this list of people. What we would do is we would click on newsletters. See there's some test ones in here. And what you click on is new message. So here there are some formats of newsletter that you can pick. Personally, I think the default one here is the best one to go with because it's nice, clean and simple. I think some of the other ones look a little bit tacky. So let's click on the default one. Now you see this little preview here. So what we can do is we can edit some text. Hello and welcome to my newsletter. You can change the colour. I wouldn't recommend it. Let's just keep it a nice blue. If you click on the posts tab, you see here we've got some posts on it. We can tell it to, if we tick these, We can tell it to include some posts or media or whatever in the newsletter itself. So let's say we wanted to include the top 3 posts. So we want to include the posts, we want to include post thumbnails, and we want to include excerpts, which are the text underneath, but we're going to include 3 rather than 2. Right. So if I save options and refresh, what you'll notice, I don't know why that unchecked, let me save that. Yeah, so if we save and refresh, you can see what it has now done is it's added these in with the thumbnails. You can change that to be 5 if you wanted, you could change it to be 1, whatever you want really. So this is like an easy way of constructing a newsletter. So once you've finished in the editing and you sort of, this is sort of how it's roughly going to look once it goes through. So let's say you're happy with that. What you want to do from that stage is you want to go and click on Go to edit this message. And this gives you sort of next tier of options associated with your particular newsletter. So if we click on message textual, so this is the plain text version. So people who don't want HTML emails, you could write a small message about it here. So you'd want to write it there. So change, replace newsletter. So you might say some text regarding it for people who aren't able to see the HTML view. If you click on message, this is kind of like if you wanted to do any custom editing in it, you can kind of do it here. I wouldn't recommend messing around with this message, but one thing you're definitely going to want to do is change the subject. So you want to go newsletter letter subject, message text, that's fine. And here you can sort of say who you want to receive it. So if we tick one of these, it'll filter it. So let's say only men, but let's not. If we don't filter it, then it won't be filtered by sex at all. Basically, if you leave this kind of how it is, then essentially what will happen is it will just send out to the list that you've got. So if I then go to status, if you wanted to sort of set it to go out at a certain time, you can control it here. What you're probably going to want to do is save and test. So save and test will send to the test email addresses, which are configurable in the plugin settings, which you see at the moment there are none configured. So if I click here, when that comes up, you notice it says there's no subscribers. It gives you a tutorial basically on how to edit and change that. But let's imagine that that's already configured. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to actually send it. So if we click send now, it says, do I want to start a real delivery? I do. So what that has now done is to actually properly email everybody on that list. So if you give me a second, I'll just put. So once you click it, you'll see that it says it's saved and added to the mail queue. So that there's basically a process on the server that every now and again will send all the mails that are set to go in the mail queue. But we can push that out naturally if we go to newsletters. We can trigger the delivery engine. So once I click that, I know for sure emails will be sent from the system. So that's been triggered now. So that would have gone out to everybody on the list that kind of approved the email. Actually told you some wrong information there regarding not confirmed. So when people subscribe to the mailing list, they get an email saying, do you want to be added to the mailing list? Let me just show you one of those quickly. So if I show you this, look, this is kind of the email that they'd receive. And if they click on this, that confirms their subscription. So that confirms them. So then if I refresh this, it says confirmed. So now if we send an email, I will receive an email. So only Jason would have received an email to the last one. If someone's unconfirmed, you can click resend welcome message to kind of, or resend confirmation, sorry, to resend them that. But that's essentially it on the newsletter stuff. There are other settings in here. So if you look in configuration, you've got various things that you're probably not going to want to mess around with too much. You've got this sort of stuff, but you can have a little look around in these things. There's nothing saying that you shouldn't, but ultimately all you're going to really want to do is look at subscribers, see who's in your list, and send a newsletter out in the way that I just showed you. Once a newsletter's been sent out, so like that one I've just sent, you can click on statistics, and you can see some numbers of how many people have opened it, how many emails have sent. So you can see there it's only sent to the one person, and it's just a nice little way of basically sending out emails through the system. If you want to delete it, all you do is tick on it and delete the selected message.